Just wanted to give a little bit of background to tonight's meeting following the absolutely welcome announcement from Zara Sultana and Jeremy Corbyn that they're going to act as interim co-leaders to help found a much needed new party. We hope it's a party that's going to provide an alternative, and we hope it's going to be a party that really will put people and the planet before profit and provide an alternative to the divisive scapegoating of Reform and the other mainstream political parties. Sadly, as we know, we live in a town where recently 11 out of 15 councillors that were elected were Reform. So we really have our work cut out to provide an alternative to that narrative. With the group that meets nationally, of which Jeremy and Zara have fed into, there's actually a meeting taking place next Monday where the people that are working closely with Jeremy and Zara, they're going to give us some ideas of how groups like ours can engage with the people creating the new party in the run-up to conference. Do we have any volunteers in the room that would like to say a few words? We're thinking 2 or 3 minutes per person, just to give everybody time to speak. Any volunteers that would like to go first?
Like many of you, I'm politically homeless. I'm encouraged by the Greens turning red, and I think that holds promise. But I'll tell you, I've always been on the left. I am a socialist, and I say that proud and without apology. But I left the Labour Party when it lurched to the right. I could no longer stay in a party that turned a blind eye to genocide, that abandoned internationalism and abandoned the working class. The Labour Party leadership has chosen the path of nationalism, performative, flag waving, Union Jacks in every office, while offering no real change to the status quo. And what's worse, they've mirrored the right by scapegoating minorities and immigrants, as if the real cause of this country's problems isn't austerity, it isn't deregulation and decades of elite misrule. That's not the left I signed up for. And I know I'm not alone. When I stood for re-election recently as a left-wing independent, I came top of the poll. That was in an area where Reform swept the board. They won every seat that they stood. But the takeaway is clear. There is a route to victory for compassionate, left-wing, socialist politics. And it's not through mimicry. It's not through faux patriotism or nationalism dressed up as patriotism. Your party offers us a chance. Maybe it's our last real chance to build something new. Not Labour Mark 2. Not a softer shade of blue. But a movement rooted in working class solidarity, internationalism, anti-racism and peace. A politics that doesn't punch down, but punches up. A politics that doesn't just oppose the Tories, but offers a radical, hopeful alternative to the political elite across the board. So I say this, if you're tired of being told to keep quiet, to wait your turn, to be realistic, if you're done with the betrayals, the broken promises, the politics of fear, if you want to build something bold, compassionate and unashamedly socialist, then join with us. Organise with us. Build with us. Let's turn political homelessness into political power. Let's make your party not just a party, but a movement for all of us.
Yeah.
Solidarity. Thank you.
I think it's disgusting that people can flag shag all over the place on roundabouts, but other people can't put up or stand with a banner in an organised march about Palestine. So it's like one rule for them.
That's something that we can discuss as part of it.
Yeah, but I just wanted to say that, and I'm also, I hate the way things have gone about trans people, because it's obvious that they're a minority, and how come J.K. Rowling in Scotland thinks it's amazing if women can prove that they're women, and we're probably perhaps more than 50% of the population. So it's like we're not protecting the minority anymore, which is what we should do. People who are attacked and vilified for whatever, So that's what's upset me this summer. You know, they say that it's been less dramatic with throwing fire bombs at these hotels, but it's been a sort of seeping. They've been saying that it's the silent majority that are racist, and that's why I'm here, because I'm sick of it. You know, it's just not representative of what people are really like.
Right, thank you.
I'm one of the 522 who was arrested on August the 9th in London. I don't feel like it's anything for applause. It's just it's something that we had to do. And I'll just begin with an announcement-y bit, which is that we have a commitment now for this Saturday for over 1,000 people to carry out the same action, to defy the ban against Palestine action by holding up placards saying, "I oppose genocide, I support Palestine action." And I would really urge anyone who's moved by that for the benefit of the police. I'm not encouraging anyone to support a prescribed terrorist organisation. But we have every right to oppose the ban. And if anyone wants details of that, please do grab me. I'll be around till the end. People are seeing that our Prime Minister, for all his, smooth front, Mr. Reasonable, is actually a bleeding genocidal monster. The old order's breaking down, which is one of the reasons that we're seeing the rise of populist simple solution politics. It's all about the small boats and all of that crap and bollocks. A lot of the arguments are very, very easy to have, and the primary thing is to not be afraid of having those conversations. So I think the critical thing for this new party is that element of prioritising building the movement. That was the opportunity that we missed way back when Jeremy Corbyn was leader, and we had the massive, Glastonbury and Jeremy Corbyn and all of that. Failed to just build and consolidate a movement on the ground. And critical to that is young people. It's great to see some younger people here. That's really, 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 really refreshing. But they are the future. The traditional left, we failed them. I'm sorry we failed you. But we'll be there for your future. We'll fucking back you up. And we've got some good tools. We know how to fight as well.
Thank you.
We need some more chairs, don't we? We'll go get some. Okay.
We've got 3 or 4 basic questions that we're going to ask you to answer within your groups. Somebody's going to take notes. We're going to suggest that everybody gets 2 minutes to speak.
Walk my dog round there, and on that building that used to be for mental health, there was chalked in red pen, "Muslims get out," and something else about our borders in red paint as you go into Trafalgar Square. The police van was there, the police car was there. When I went round there Monday morning deliberately, they tried to whitewash it off, but you can still see where the red paint is. And Trafalgar Square is full of the red lines as well. And particularly racism in Scarborough gets to me. I have 3 Muslim children, and one is told to go home because she wears hijab. The other one, who's coming to see me on Thursday, she's scared that she's going to be deported because she's mixed heritage, and I'm reassuring her, you're British, but your father's Palestinian. So what? Doesn't matter. And my son is being got at as well because he's mixed heritage. And to look at them, you wouldn't think, but people find out through, I don't know how. So, particularly racism affects me personally in this town, and it is quite scary what people are doing.
That connection between national and local is really, really important in what we're seeing. People drifting away, people feeling forgotten, people feeling disenfranchised, alienated, and turning to the right for answers. That a big, strong national programme that people could see the local benefits for would go a long way to turning people away from that, and I think that's massively important. The way that the far right use social media to spread division for division's sake, and then, as you quite rightly hint at it being some kind of policy after they've sowed all these seeds of division, it's a new form of politics that I don't think anybody on the left has got to grips with yet. I've spoken about this a few times. I think we are way behind the curve on the way that they use social media to disseminate disinformation and misinformation and to twist people's minds. And the way that cookies and algorithms work means that whatever you react to becomes your reality, because that's what you're going to be fed on your timeline, and that goes for both sides. What we're creating is superstars out of nothing, because half of the likes that they, half of the shares that they get and the follows they get are from people who hate them and want to react to them. Now, if you didn't do that, they would have half the following overnight. They basically win because we fuel them. Our reaction to them fuels them, and we're still way too honest on the left to work like that.
I work at a housing charity, and it's so difficult for the colleagues that are on the front line helping people, and obviously the more difficult for the people that are helping that there's nowhere to refer people to. So housing is just one of their issues, but then there's actually nowhere for them to go to get help when they've got mental health issues, and then that makes maintaining housing really, really, really difficult, as well as obviously feeding themselves. So yeah, I would say I would put lack of mental health services up with national issues.
If you're going to spend 90 minutes saying, does the chair want to make sure that this eye is in front of that T and blah, 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 that's how you discourage it. So we've got to do the complete opposite of what Labour did when they sabotaged the branch and CLP meetings for new members, which are coming in en masse. Labour used to get about 15, 20 members in locally at those meetings. It swelled to 60. We had to look for bigger rooms. But then it started to go back down again because they slowed the meetings down and made them less interesting. We can flip that and make them interesting.
Yeah, not everybody's got 3 hours to sit in a meeting. Some people want to come in, sort the business out and get home. Exactly. I certainly do.
You don't want to spend your first hour discussing the minutes of the last meeting in great detail.
We've all done that though, haven't we?
If there's 650 constituencies in this country, we need to have this kind of galvanised organisations running across all 650. If everybody signs up as members, you've got a party to be reckoned with. And this isn't a party that is top down, it's grassroots up. If we're all chucking in £5 a month to it, we don't need those party donors, and then we're not beholden to those party donors. We can make our own politics. When it does come to conference, those things that fed down from the local branch and constituency meetings, they can't be thrown out by the party leadership. They have to be brought to the floor, and those then have to be voted on, and then that dictates party policy. That is democracy, and the party will then be led by its members. Doing it the other way around is what led me to leave the Labour Party. And if we go down that route, I won't even join this one.
It's not interesting.
I think what we really need is more volunteering. I think everybody who's getting involved with this needs to be doing what they can in their community and being seen to do it, and that's cleaning stuff up and that's working with people, and it's, we have to do stuff, we really do, and if that's just good deeds constantly, then that is What can the media do with that?
Saying workers unite, but we actually have to unite and
In
do
it,
something.
yeah. It's not just saying let's do this, let's do that. It's giving our time to make communities better. And if we do that, regardless of whether we've been elected already or we've got funding, let's just act like we've got in and do some good stuff.
And I think a lot of people end up falling into reform because it's disguised as this. We're gonna sort this out. We're gonna do this, and it's all bravado. But we need to, like you said, we need to actually speak to the community more. We need to show face. We need to show a presence within our community. Yeah.
Our top 3 national issues. It took us some time, but our top 3 are: number 1 is austerity. Number 2 was health services, and within that is the NHS, and then also mental health support, and then within that, all sorts really within that. And then our final point, which I don't think has been highlighted, but forgive me if it has, is media bias, because that is something that we think is a real issue in terms of, especially when we spread the word out there, we have to be aware of the retraction we're going to get from that and how we're going to tackle that, and being aware of how we spread positivity despite of the negativity we're inevitably going to get.
We all love this local area. Many of us have moved to live around here because we love this area, but it seems difficult, or there doesn't seem to be that much mechanism to be able to say anything or change anything when you see things that you know aren't right. And it's good that we now have groups like this that can help to try and support that process.
Sorry, this is like my first ever sort of meet, so this is all very new to me. But I think one thing for me that just popped into mind is small businesses and apprenticeships. I think I'm a hairdresser, so I've gone up from being an apprentice, and now I'm seeing a lot in small businesses through the country how apprentices are being turned away. The support's not there for them anymore, the money's not there to have apprentices anymore. So I think that needs to be touched on.
We live in an area of educational poverty. We had people talking about there needs to be more youth provision for older teenagers. There's a lot of neglect in regards to sort of our council estates. That brings us into housing. We need more council house building schemes. Housing is not readily available. People my age and older are struggling to live independently or being able to pay for even just rent at this point. There's a bit of a brain drain as well. Our young people are leaving to go to university and they are not coming back. We have an ageing population in Scarborough, and we're not sort of retaining, I'd say, that teenager to sort of 30s demographic. We just believe that Scarborough is representative of national issues fully. Like, we are a good cross-section of everything that's wrong with the UK at the moment. Food poverty. One of our group highlighted that places set up as like food banks for environmental impact, so sort of just food waste basically, are now being used as food banks. Find the positive. The right wing have been going negative with their politics. They've been saying, this is going to happen to you, this is going to happen to your family, blah, blah, blah. How can we bring people up? How can we be positive? How can we be a positive party? What serves everybody? And we mean everybody. What serves the working class? What serves like everybody across the spectrum? Be a unifier. Commit to not fear-mongering. It is the most like useful political tool, but it is the most nefarious. How can we not make people scared? How can we make people feel positive about like a revolution, essentially? That's what we want. And bravery, defending the rights of people who cannot defend their own rights, economic migrants, queer people, challenging empire, challenging notions of colonialism, militarism. Our final statement was sort of be bold, be fearless. Thank you for listening.
The NHS, we were much aware that it's now the York Trust, and we've lost services. We touched on obviously the stroke things, and again we've got personal experience of that. My wife had to have eye treatment and she had to go to York to have it done. Now, it's all very well having centres of excellence, but it does make things very difficult for the people who are having to access the treatment. We were very much I think of the idea that all utilities, including transport, should be renationalised. And finally, the idea of a launch event, perhaps. We were talking about the fact that community things are few and far between now. There used to be fetes, there used to be galas, and everybody talked to one another, and things got thrashed out in an informal manner like that. So how about we have a launch event concentrating on inclusivity in Scarborough and invite all representatives, all different walks of life and ethnicities and whatever, to come along and show how vibrant it can all be and how lovely it can all be. Thank you.
We've broadly separated out into 8 or 9 groups and all talked about it in separate places and come up with the same answers. And I think that's really, really good to see, because it shows you that the level of political engagement and the levels of desperation are intertwined. You know, we can see what we need. We know what we need. We know what we want, and we want that party to put a programme together that actually follows the will of people on the ground at the grassroots, people who know what they need, know what the communities need. We need that from the National Party, but it should be bottom up. They should do what we say, not the other way around.
We need people who have never spoken up before to speak up, and to do that you need to feel empowered. And to feel empowered you need to be given the opportunity. And you know, 50 seats in a row and one person speaking at the front for half an hour isn't the way. In my experience, I'm not speaking for the whole party because we don't have one yet. But in my experience, that's not how that works. Everybody needs to have a voice, and for everybody to have a voice, you need a medium that's going to provide that.